everyone, nice to see you. If you are following me on Twitter, you might have seen that I shared quite some videos and photos of the intense protest in Hong Kong last Sunday. Large crowds, tear gases, police brutality, and mass arrests. Scenes that we had been seeing for months last year came back to the streets of Hong Kong. People are taking to the streets again to express what they want. And what do they want exactly? To put it in a more specific way, they want to protest against the so-called national security law, which is set to be passed on May 28th by the People's Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP. They also want to protest against the national anthem law that the Hong Kong government is pushing. If the national anthem law is passed, anyone in Hong Kong can be found guilty of actions such as singing the Chinese national anthem in a distorted or disrespectful way, and they could face a fine up to 50,000 Hong Kong dollars or some 60,000 US dollars and 3 years in prison. If the national security law is passed, virtually anything the CCP doesn't like can be counted or defined as a threat to national security, and the CCP police can go directly to Hong Kong to enforce this law. Hong Kong will become a city of China, and the so-called one country, two system will officially be dead. So, to put it more broadly, people of Hong Kong are defending their freedom, their way of living, and their autonomy that the CCP promised to give them when taking back Hong Kong from the UK in 1997. I guess everybody already knew this. Hong Kong was given to the British Empire in 1842 as a colony after the First Opium War by the Qing Emperor, which was governing China then. The colony expanded later after the Second Opium War. In 1898, Britain obtained a 99-year lease on the new territories, one of the three main regions of Hong Kong. So in 1997, when the lease was over, Hong Kong was given back to China on the condition that the CCP would guarantee Hong Kong's economic and political systems for 50 years after the transfer. So the term one country, two systems has been used to describe the status that although Hong Kong has become part of China, the social system is different. Hong Kong can still maintain its previous ways of living. The problem is, when the CCP promises something to gain something, it never intends to keep its words. After it gains that something, it will just swallow its words. And that's what CCP has been doing to Hong Kong. The first major attempt for the CCP to impose some sort of law to limit Hong Kong's freedom was back in 2003, when the CCP tried to push the so-called Basic Law Article 23. It states that Hong Kong shall enact laws on its own to prohibit any act of treason, sedition, subversion against the Central People's Government, or theft of state secrets, to prohibit foreign political organizations or bodies from conducting political activities in the region, and to prohibit political organizations or bodies of the region from establishing ties with foreign political organizations or bodies. That push was met with great resistance from people of Hong Kong. 500,000 people took to the street to protest against it. So the CCP had to give up that attempt. Since then, the battle between the people of Hong Kong and the CCP never stops. At the peak, before the current pandemic, 2 million people took to the streets to protest in June last year. You might wonder what are they battling for? Why do they fight each other? What is at stake? Before answering these questions, let's watch a 2-minute video first. It is a speech made by CCP General Xu Yan at the 2018 annual meeting of National Famous Teachers Workshop Union in China. Nearly 2,000 educators and students attended that conference. The English subtitles are translated and ended by me.
新疆、西藏就是中国的软肋。另外，香港还要闹港独的雨伞革命啊，就是国际反华势力想把香港变成反共桥头堡。现在一些年轻人闹事儿，关键他其实讲起来他是家长坏，加上这个教育问题。1997年接触香港的时候，我那时候跟驻港部队领导也一起参加研究香港的社情。香港的社会基础，咱们实事求是讲，是中国最坏的地方，比台湾都坏。这毛主席当然讲中国社会和阶级分析，你分析一个地方情况，你首先分析它社会状况。台湾真正反共的人并不多，当地居民80%离共产党无所谓，去的20%很多抓上钉去的。香港可不一样，香港来讲，1997年咱们接管说，当时分析居民成分3个1/3，1/3是香港原住民和他们后代受港英教育，他有点傲气，但是来讲对你大陆还没什么怨恨。1/3是最坏的。1949年、1950年被共产党清算斗争扫地出门跑去的，对你刻骨仇恨很多人。再有1/3 3年困难挨饿，那边偷渡，对你影响好得了。说香港回归之后就是一个大失误，现在也总结，一切都不变，你不去殖民化怎么行啊？你香港回归这20多年，教材还是用港英国属土公民教材，而且他原来想改教材，家长不让改，说学生坏、年轻人坏是家长坏。不让改教材，现在这20多年还是英国属土公民教材。说现在这些年轻学生闹事儿，他教育糟糕，是教育出了问题了。我觉得现在咱们就是采取措施了。过去我们讲一个大教训，过分强调两制，没强调一国呀。去年咱们新特首林郑月娥上来之后，我觉得2件事干得好。第一件事，那占中闹事的判刑；第二个来讲，从今年开始教材的改，你得用中国公民的教材，你怎么能用英国属土公民教材？但是把这些人教育过来，再多人搞教育都清楚吗？把这些人教育过来，可不是1年2年能办到的事儿。这个教育还是个长期的问题。
I have to say that this short 2-minute speech tells us a lot. That's how the CCP looks at the people of Hong Kong, and that's also how the CCP looks at the people of the free world. At the deepest level of CCP's conscience or subconscious, any human being who thinks differently, who cannot be controlled, is an enemy of the CCP. They don't accept people who have different values or who cannot be turned into their slaves. That's why ever since Hong Kong was transferred to the CCP has been feeling that this place and the people of this place are like a thorn in its back. For example, after the CCP decided to crack down on Falun Gong, a peaceful meditation and self-improvement system in 1999 in China, and threw hundreds of thousands of Falun Gong practitioners in jail or murdered them by harvesting their organs, you virtually cannot see any Falun Gong practitioners publicly practicing Falun Gong exercises in China anymore, although many of them are still practicing at home. So the CCP can declare victory over Falun Gong. However, in Hong Kong, Falun Gong practitioners can still be seen everywhere, and they actively organize all sorts of activities to raise awareness of the persecution in China and to expose the CCP's anti-humanity crimes. So, this is also a thorn in CCP's flesh. Another thing the CCP hates very much about Hong Kong is that Hong Kong still has the freedom of speech. Many books and publications that criticize the CCP or talk about the crimes and scandals of the CCP leaders can be published and sold in Hong Kong, and many mainland Chinese people especially travel to Hong Kong to buy them and then take them back to China. The CCP has made such tremendous efforts to control information and free speech in China, so how can it allow this to happen in Hong Kong? That is why the CCP cannot wait for 50 years to turn Hong Kong into a colony of its own. On the other hand, people of Hong Kong have enjoyed freedom and prosperity as part of the free and civilized world. They cannot bear to have their freedom taken away. Let's also watch a two-minute video to learn how people of Hong Kong feel and think. The lyrics of the video go like this. When you choose to travel far, you'll have to always march forward. When you choose brightness, you must break free from the darkness. When you choose honor, you must conquer fear. When you choose faith, you'll have to defend it with your life. Goodwill alone cannot defeat the evil. Justice must have an iron fist of its own. If the civilized world didn't have the weapon of justice, the world would have long been devastated. Freedom won't fall from the sky. We must fight for it. If people of Hong Kong don't fight today, tomorrow will become slaves of the CCP. Without land, without freedom, without rights, without dignity. Only exploitation and slavery, generations after generations, and they will be forced to thank the CCP. I believe after watching this video, as well as listening to what people of Hong Kong think, you will understand that the values and the mentality of CCP and people of the free world are totally different and are completely opposite to each other. In this sense, CCP's social system is not compatible with that of the free world. Although people in the free world might think we can coexist with the CCP doesn't think that they can coexist with the free world. That is the fundamental reason why they must kill the one country, two system in front of the entire world. Another question to ask is, why did the CCP choose to push this agenda now? On May 22nd, the day when the CCP announced that it would push forward the national security law, CCP's mouthpiece, the People's Daily, published an article saying that Hong Kong must not be allowed to become a loophole in terms of national security. On the following day, May 23rd, the People's Daily published another article saying that the anti-China politicians in the West are recklessly interfering with Hong Kong's affairs because of the national security loophole in Hong Kong, so the central government cannot allow an undefended Hong Kong to exist anymore. We can say that these are the official explanations of the CCP. Other unofficial theories are: 1. To divert attention. Forced with mounting pressure from the international world of holding the CCP accountable for the pandemic, the CCP desperately needed something to divert attention. If they succeed in Hong Kong, they win. It's a bonus for them. Even if they don't succeed in passing the law, they are still successful as they've opened another battlefield field to divert the world's attention. So it is a careful calculation for the CCP. They have nothing to lose, although Hong Kong will be a victim. They don't care about Hong Kong anymore, as it is causing too many headaches for them. The second theory is to prevent the potential disgraceful failure in Legislative Council election. We know that Hong Kong will soon have its Legislative Council election, that is in September this year, only about 3 months away. In last year's local election in Hong Kong, as well as this year's Taiwanese presidential election, pro-CCP figures or parties lost very badly and disgracefully. People regarded both elections and referendums on the public's choices. Both people of Hong Kong and Taiwan voted a big fat no for the CCP. So the CCP worried that if it didn't take some dramatic measures to crack down on Hong Kong now, it would lose bitterly again in the upcoming Legislative Council election. If that happens, it means the CCP will lose its control over Hong Kong in many ways. So the CCP must stop that no matter what. And my own theory is that it is pointless to try to figure out why and how the CCP would do something, as CCP's mentality is not something that normal human beings can fathom. Why do I say so? When anything is created, it is given a purpose or a mission. For example, when we create a cup, we want to use it to drink water. When we created a pen, we want to use it to write. When the evil specter of communism was created, it was given a mission to destroy mankind, period. So while we would imagine that a normal government, a normal political party in a normal society would consider social consequences when making decisions, the CCP won't. I doubt sometimes the CCP leaders, when controlled by the evil specter behind them, cannot help themselves from doing evil or mad things. I think we have already seen enough examples of this. Therefore, instead of trying to figure out what is in the CCP's mind, we should first see through its evil nature, then accept the fact that it cannot be changed for better, and then act proactively to stop it from doing more evil and to defeat and remove it from this planet of ours. If we don't, if we let the CCP get away with creating such a tremendous catastrophe for mankind, what else would the CCP not do? If we allow the CCP to kill Hong Kong's freedom, its next target will be Taiwan and the world. Okay, that's all for today. Truth, even inconvenient, does save lives. Please subscribe to and share my channel. Thank you. See you next time.